I think I'm going to bring up one that's maybe more in spirit to something like Cocaine Bear, since that is the movie that is inspiring this conversation in the first place. And I know this is a movie that does have its own cult following, especially as a franchise and a saga. But I'm going back to the year 1990 to a film called Tremors, which,
Okay, yeah.
and I'm going with something that I think, actually is a pretty good movie in its own right. I actually
Yeah,
think
it's good.
what this movie is trying to do is just be a fun, campy sci-fi movie with giant worms in like a kind of a almost western like way. And I think the charm of it is that it didn't seem like director Ron Underwood and screenwriters Brett Maddock and S.S. Wilson, it didn't seem like that they were trying to make a cult film. There actually is a sincerity to this one. And and I also think from an acting standpoint, I think that Kevin Bacon and Fred Ward, the late Fred Ward, have amazing chemistry. You could watch this movie and take out the giant worms, and it's just an enjoyable movie about two dirty handymen in Nevada. I forget what state they're actually in. Um, but it's there is a weird sense of like sincerity to it, and I think in many ways you can argue it's one of those movies that sort of kickstarted this whole fad of animal attack movies, sci-fi themed monster movies that really tried to achieve cult status before they knew they even had a cult film on their hands. And I think the subsequent films in this franchise still at least maintain enough of the charm, at least with the second and third film, by keeping what's his name, Michael Gross as Burt Gummer around. The first time I ever saw this movie, it was me walking in on it. I think my dad was watching it, and it was the scene with Michael Gross and Reba McEntire just unloading elephant guns on one of these graboids, I think is what they call them. And I thought to myself, I have to watch this movie. And I think it holds up. I think there's a practicality to it that is really great. I feel like I'm arguing more objectively about it. I feel like I'm being very serious as to why this is a good movie, but there are movies that can take the trash mentality and honestly take it kind of seriously. And I think this
Yeah.
one succeeds very well in doing that.
It's all about like aspirations, right? This movie is
Yeah.
not trying to be anything that's going to change your worldview or anything like that. They're just like, we're just going to give you a junky survival sci-fi animal movie,
Yeah.
and you're going to eat it up because Tremors is good. And I know there's
Yeah.
stories of Kevin Bacon being on the set of Tremors and him just being like, "Oh my God, is my career over? Is this really what I've come to? I'm doing a movie
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
killer sandworms." And then now, it's like one of the things that people most like to talk to him about. So I think that really, that kind of defines this great trash movie. If you look at
Yeah.
something on paper and you're like, "Oh my God, that sounds atrocious," and they
Mhm.
manage to give it some sort of alchemical spirit where it kind of
Mhm.
becomes something that is just so easy to embrace, and in that way starts to feel like something that you really personally attach to. I think that's the magic of these kind of movies.
In many ways, it definitely uses Jaws as
Oh yeah,
inspiration
yeah.
because it really does put the characters first. What makes Tremors so good is the fact that pretty much everyone in the movie is just so freaking likable, and that's something you don't often see. I feel like sometimes the concept overtakes the movie, or
Mhm.
the cult like idea or the cult like agenda overtakes the movie. And Tremors is the exact opposite, which is why I think it has held up so well over the years.
I
And
agree.
we all know Jaws and Tremors, same movie,
Same universe.
belong in the
Same
same.
universe.